Hello, testing. Testing, testing, streaming, seeing if sound's reading. Seems good. Seems not too high. Just going to. Hello. Hello, Curry. Just giving it a few more moments, making sure that my setup is fine before we switch over. Does it sound crackly at all? I noticed the quality kind of changed in my VODs. Sometimes it's fine, but other times it gets a little cracky. No response, so I assume it's fine. Mic filter. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know if there's that much I can do about that though. And then I'll be switching over to the other setup eventually too. So probably can just turn off the filter then if that's the case. Going to make sure that my camera is good. Seems fine. Yeah. This. Yep, looks good. Okay. Okay. Switch stream, make sure that looks good. Yes, seems fine. Okay, I'm starting to see some trickling in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hello to those of you who are viewing me today. It's another Monday, which means it's time for more kit building. I'm happy to see you guys all tuning in. Didn't do a ton of like advertising this time. Oh, Canon, don't even start. Anyway, so today we are going to continue with our painting. Last time we basically did all of the whites on this kit, so let me make this image a little bit bigger. So as you can see, all of the whites on this maid are like her, this isn't really the kit itself, but we're using this as a reference, and so all of the whites on this maid are pretty much what we painted. So you know, her headband, any of the stockings slash bloomers. Let me bring up the kit itself. I put away a lot of her pieces already just to kind of keep them safe and not in the way. But here's an example of what we painted last time. So basically just went in and did all of her bloomers and her hairband and everything. And so we did a lot of, let me move my spoon, I was trying to focus on my spoon. We did a lot of pre-shading, just looking at the camera pointing. So we did a lot of pre-shading, meaning that we shaded the kit first, and then we put on a top coat after that. So we shaded kind of with this cocoa milky color, which is not mixed now, but the bottom color is what we sprayed first. And then we went on top and we sprayed a white, just plain white paint on top. And after that, I went in with another, you know, brand of paint, I guess. We used Mr. Lashevis. This is a Mr. Color, Mr. Hobby brand, so it's not Gaia Notes. But we went in and we did all of the post shading on top of that. So we wanted to emphasize the shading that we had, especially because this is such a simple kit. And we kind of left it off there. What I didn't show you guys and what I kind of decided to do after I was looking at the pieces, I went in and I, you know, fixed a couple areas that didn't really have as much white as they should have. And then I went in on top and not super crazy noticeable, but I added another pearl top coat. So I'm really into pearls lately. Like, I don't know why. I just really am enjoying using them. And so this kit is really simple. So I decided to give it a top coat with Mr. Crystal Color Ruby Red. So yeah, we want her, it's such a simple kit. I figured it'd be fun to, you know, really make her shine in a different way. And so I've sprayed on pearl color, ruby red on top of all of the white pieces. So as you notice, this kit is glossed and top coated and shiny now, but there's kind of a red tint maybe to the gloss and the shine that you're seeing, and that's thanks to these pearls. So once the kit is flatted down, you won't see as much of that, but it really gives it just a nice additional color and a bit more depth than we had last time with just spraying it white. There's a good angle, so you can see the kind of red glossy shine on top of these. And so I have been using pearls. I use them on her hair. I use some golden pearl, and then we use it on her skin. We did a white pearl on top of her skin, so I figure why not continue this and just keep going with pearls. So you didn't see any of that. It's just one extra step, not super necessary, but I figured I would mention it because we are going to be returning to this piece hopefully tonight, because we need to work on her shoes. So she's got these tiny shoes down here that we're going to have to mask off, and I'm thinking of spraying them red, but not 100% sure yet. So I want to get the black on top, like the black pieces painted first before I decide what I want to do. So this piece like here, one of her arms, this piece is going to be black for her outfit, and then I'll kind of think about if I want to use the red on her shoes. So not gonna do too much more explanation tonight, just want to kind of hop back in. I am also considering using more pearls and painting pearl top coat on top of her dress once it's done. So we have this kind of dark purpley blackish color that we're going to be putting on top or using for her outfit. I'm thinking of top coating with pearls again. So you can see here I put red on top of this black, so that black I just showed you, and you can see the red is really shining here. I might do this, I'm not 100% sure. So we're gonna get that black top coat, or purple, plumish, whatever, top coat on first, and then we're gonna go in and maybe I'll see. You can hear an echo. That might be because yep. Sorry, I didn't have my Twitch in my background muted, and so let me know if you can still hear me. I just muted myself. I kind of tried to keep it on there to see how the video was looking, but now I shut myself off, so we should be good. But yeah, so this is the red top coat, or red pearls, so the ruby red on top of this color here. And so you can see how the color changes. So there's really this red that changes the color. And yeah, we'll see how we feel about that. Not sure yet, just because I don't want to go too crazy, and I do like this color. This is a little bit more reddish than I thought, but at the same time, I wanted to put magenta on this, so I might just sub the magenta and spray more pearls. So we'll see. I think that's pretty much it. It's like a preliminary what I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, one more thing. Sorry, before I start, painting and muting myself and all of that. I did purchase an additional base for this figure. So this is the base that we were, that was given to me with the kit. Let's see if I can get this to focus again. Come on, camera. Come on. I see a comment. Oh, good, BB, you're just missing background. So this is the base that came with the kit, and I decided I didn't like it because it's very flimsy. This hole here was meant for her shoes to fit directly into, but I didn't like that idea because then I couldn't pin the kit, so I shaved off the tab that was kind of stuck on the ends of her legs here and her shoes, and I decided to replace it with a base of equal diameter but made of acrylic. So this is the base that I purchased. It's the same size. You can see the diameter is 2.25 inches, so I went ahead and I measured across and then just found a base of equivalent diameter circumference. So this one is made of acrylic. When I use my bases and I want them plain, I just buy them acrylic. There's a little paper tab here that you just pull off, so this base will not be, this kind of wooden color, cardboard color, unless you want it that way. But it's a sticker that you pull off. So let's see. You'll be in and out of lurking. Yeah, no worries, BB. That's fine. But yeah, so I don't really have much more to say besides this. I don't think I'm gonna do anything too crazy like decorating the space. I might use a piece of paper to make a pattern on it, or I might just put stuff on top of it so I can use like some little flowers or something. But yeah, not really thinking I want to do too much to the space. So just kind of a heads up on where the base is. If you are interested in purchasing these types of bases, so if you like acrylic bases and you don't mind like the kind of like ridged, sides here, I get all of my bases from the company Z Laser on eBay. So I'll go ahead and link them in the description. I've made a couple of orders with them at this point, and I've always been satisfied. I've never received any that have cracked or had issues, and really they do the job. So you can buy different diameters, different heights of them, and I've been satisfied. So let's see, I'll post it here. I'm so behind on the progress of this kit. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you in here, Hollow. I'm glad you could make it. Yeah, we've been pretty far along, honestly. I think all we've got left, and transitioning into that, we're gonna finish up her darker, like black pieces of her clothes today, and then I'm hoping to get her ribbon and those shoes done as well. So we're gonna jump into that right about now. You've also maybe noticed I cleaned my bench up a little bit because it was pretty funky, got a lot of paint on it, and reason I did that is because I've been sanding a new project lately, a new commission, and so I've got these little dusties here and there sometimes. So I've tried cleaning most of that off, but if you see any of these little resin dusts, that's why. It's because I'm working on something else on top of everything else. So I just decided it would be easier to sand in here and not have it affect the paintwork that I'm doing outside of this booth. So that's pretty much it. Let's make sure that my airbrush works. Okay. Yeah, we're good here. Let's this. Test it out. Yep. We're good. Okay. Seems like that's good. And so yeah, I'm gonna let's see. Final wrap up. Okay, so Hollow, thank you for wanting to catch up. If you are interested, I do have all of my prior streams available on my YouTube channel. It's not really something that I'm investing a lot of time into. I'm basically just downloading the VOD from Twitch and then putting it up when I feel like or when I have time and when YouTube can process the video. It's under the same name, Plum Workshop, so I won't go ahead and link it or anything. Actually, I will link it, just, why not? Let me look it up real quick. You might have it as well already favorited, but for those of you guys who are gonna watch the VOD or are not familiar that I have a YouTube channel, find it. Oh yeah. Okay. Here should be a working link. Hopefully it's not like a creator link or anything. I'm not super familiar with YouTube, but here's the link. Let me click that and see if it works. Okay, yeah, so here's my link. I try to upload every past VOD on here, and it has kind of the same format as what I do, on these streams. The only one that was missing is 13 because I totally forgot to download it, and that was that. Oh yeah, you got a ways to go. But no worries. It's a lot of content, and a lot of what we do here is the same anyway from, part to part, so not missing too much. Okay, so what we're doing now is I am going to start base coating all of these dark colored pieces. So there's really only 3 here. We have her apron here, or I guess, yeah, it's like her apron, and then these 2 pieces of her shoulders / arms that fit into the kit. And so I'm going to do all the base coating on those and then post shade them with a darker version of this, or of clear / some color. So not too much we need to do there. Let me brush these off first because they've been a little dusty. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of play it by ear. I figured out, I think, the reason why my paint top coats are blushing, by the way, so we shouldn't have that issue from now on or in any of the videos that you guys see. And it's because the temperature of my vial was like colder than what is spraying out through my airbrush, and so it wasn't an issue of humidity or anything. It was just like the paint and the material being too cold. So I have decided to warm it up. And that's helped a little bit, just kind of like hold it in my hand for, you know, a minute or two, and now it's like a nice warm temperature that will spray out well. So I'm going to test this out on a spoon first, as we always do, and then transition into the pieces. As I've been saying past couple of times, I have noise gated myself once my airbrush booth is on. So once I turn that on, you guys are not going to hear me, you're only going to hear the music. So just FYI for those of you tuning in who have not been here for a while. Okay, let's go ahead and get this started. I might need to adjust my camera a little bit just to make sure things are fine, but other than that, I'm just going to turn this booth on and we'll get started. So as always, if you have any questions, please just, you know, throw them in the comments, and once I turn my booth off, we can, you know, I'll answer them and we can just chat. So sounds good. Alright, just kind of pointing out that this is the color I want, this is the color that's expected, so we are just gonna go and start on these other pieces. Now that I think about it, it might not take too long to paint them, so that's good. We'll do all these, you know, kind of brown or darker plum colors first, and then that'll give me some more time to possibly do masking. So once I finish the base coats here, I'll turn off my airbrush booth, and while I'm mixing the shading color, you know, we can talk and stuff. So there we go. Let's put this back. Actually, this is drying a little bit. We'll keep an eye on this, but should be okay. So you can see it's kind of drying. Let's see. Drying kind of weird. It's doing the weird thing. So I'm gonna let that sit, and it should be fine. Probably because I loaded it on too quick. And it's not too humid in here. Oh, there we go. So it just needs time to kind of settle out. I'm gonna kind of apply this paint thinly then to make sure that each of these layers is drying well, because sometimes if you apply your paint too thickly, as you can see, you get this like weird uneven drying. So you really want to make sure that your paint is all drying evenly. And let me compare this. Yeah, the colors are more or less accurate to the spoon that I have on my side here, so I don't think I'm not worried about it not acting up. Okay, enough talk. Sorry. Alright, gonna take a quick look at this before I decide to do anything else or move on to the shading, mostly because I want to compare the color against the Maid outfit that I have already. So I'm gonna clean this out real quick and then we can do a quick look. But yeah, basically all we were doing at that point was just base coating everything with that kind of darker plum color. I specifically chose to use white primer because I did want it more to be colored, I guess. So you can take your choice of primers, whether you use white or gray or black, but whatever paint you put on top of that is going to look different depending on what primer color you have underneath. So a lot of times in garage kit building, artists opt for using white primer because it allows the colors to show up a little bit brighter compared to other colors such as gray or black. So specifically for this kit, I don't want her to be, how would I put it? I want as much color as possible in this because she's already a pretty simple kit. So by using white primer, I can really focus on this kind of plummy, darker purple color as opposed to just a neutral, darker gray with a purple on top, or like a black that isn't really going to show off that purple details. So the final, let's see if it will show, you can see this color is more of a muted purple color as opposed to like just pure black out of the bottle, which is very much what I want, because when we go in and shade this stuff with the darker black color, it's going to look a little bit darker, and that blacker, darker shading will really bring out some more contrast here. So if you're spraying pure black on, you know, a kit like this, that's great, but it's a little bit harder to get shading that way. So by using these darker colors that are, you know, more tinted in some other color's direction, we're able to add more shading and contrasts. But you can still see it. I mean, it's pretty dark. It's very purpley. This is a little bit too purple. Actually, I don't know. Let's compare it. I was gonna say it's a little too purple, but let's see. Yeah, I really like this color actually. Like, it's not too bad. It's not offensive, and it still works as a darker black color. So once stuff goes on, you know, it's easier to see it. So yeah, you can see that it more or less will match this kit. It is a little bit too purple for me right now, so I think I'm gonna go in with that clear recipe we're about to do and darken this up a bit. Let me grab her hair from my desk, or like my secret area, I guess, where I keep stuff safe, and then we'll compare it that way, because all we're gonna do, you know, throughout this whole process is making sure that the colors match what we want. If they don't look that way, we can tint it a little bit. Also, you know, we do have that option of turning it more red, which now that I look at that, I might do it, so we'll see. Let's take a quick look. You can see that once the white goes on, the colors do kind of change a little bit. So very cute actually. When I look at it through the camera and when I look at it here, I do think this color is quite cute. Definitely just needs shading. And then let's look at the orange against it. Oh, you can see now that the orange really does bring out how dark this color is, and it changes it to be more kind of, I don't want to say blacker because this isn't a black color, but really when the colors do interact together, you can see that the color will look differently. So that's why I do like to do all of my hair painting and stuff first, because that way I have a good idea of what the colors will look like once it goes on. So when I put them side by side, the purple goes very well with this orange. So I think we are good to move on and do the post shading. Let me attach one of her arms and then we'll really see. So yeah, so here's our arm. You can see once this starts coming together, it's really gonna look like what we are aiming for, which is this finished kit. There we go, ish. So I'm not really attaching these too crazy, but you know, this is what the arms will look like when they're fully on there. I didn't push them in or anything. Also, when I did go in with the base coat, I put a little bit of a lighter, like I didn't spray as heavy along her shoulder blades here, along the top part, because we do want to give that a little bit more of a um, lighter color, just to bring out a bit more dimension. There's this really simple kit, there's not too much to it, but she is looking like something. So let's take these pieces off. Again, I'm working with lacquer here, so it does dry in a matter of minutes. As for curing, that takes a little bit longer, so it's okay for me to, go and test these pieces and put them on the kit, but you do want to be careful that you're not scratching. Yeah, good timing with your comment, Leo. Yeah, so the paint does dry quickly. Curing takes a bit longer, so if you're going to be, pushing stuff up against it, I would just be wary. Because it, does take a little bit of time to dry. Okay, I'm gonna put this, cure, sorry. I use drying and curing interchangeably sometimes, but they are different things in this hobby, so if you're ever confused, just, ask for clarification. Okay, let's see, we'll take this off and put this here. Also, I was wondering if I needed to spray inside of here, but I don't think that's necessary. I was kind of angling the kit, and the bloomers fit in pretty snugly, so you're really not going to see a lot of this. If it were like a cape or something, you would need to go in on the other side and paint all of that. Plus, we have the ruffles that will go along here as well, so this kind of just doesn't look right, and that's because we're missing those bottom ruffles that we worked on before. So, let's put this back, and I will put away this hair. Careful not to scratch it. Okay, so we're gonna make our clear mixture now, which we are going to be using to shade these pieces. So we just applied the base coat. It's looking nice. It's funky fresh, but it needs to be a little darker around the edges and around like her sleeves and stuff. So I have a mixture here that we did last time, so I'm going to work off of that. Yes, airbrush is good. Before I forget, I'm going to switch out my airbrush. So we were using my Wada airbrush for the base coating, but now we're going to go in with my Badger and do some of that shading. So this is my smaller needle, which will allow me to get in with that detail. Okay, so let me grab a cup. Buzz on my cup. All right, so we're gonna make that mixture, clear mixture now. I do not typically pre-make my clear mixtures, so I just do this after I've finished base coat, and I'm like working with the kit. So I don't need too many vials sitting around my house. I try to keep all my mixtures because I'm like, what if I paint this character again? But it's just resulted in me hoarding a bunch of vials. Not helpful. Okay. So last time we checked this, or we made this mixture, had a handful of clear black. So we're going to put in, it was a half dropper of clear black. So as we've discussed a couple of times before, clear black from Gaia Notes is a bit different from just their regular opaque black. This is a transparent color that's meant to be layered on top of, other colors. And when it comes out of the bottle, it's more of a smoky gray. So it'll add, some contrast to an area without making it like it's all speckled and stuff. I'm very fluid with my words, as you can see. So yeah, you can see the color is a little bit transparent. It's not a crazy dark black like you usually get out of the bottle. Then we had a bit of clear purple, and so we've been working with two purples. We've been working with primary color violet and just clear purple, and so I don't remember if we actually used the clear purple, but that's what my recipe says, so I'm going to go with it. And we just had a very, very small amount of that. What am I listening to? What is this song? Just heard like soup. I'm skipping this one, guys. So from what I can tell, this mixture was almost entirely just clear black with a tiny bit of tint of other colors. So that's pretty easy to mix. Lastly, we apparently had a tiny bit of magenta, not even a dropper, it was just what I call a toothpick drop, which is like nothing, but it will add a little bit of color and change the color slightly. So you can see the color is more purple now, maybe. It looks purple to me. That magenta you can see adds a tint of that pink and makes it look more purple here, but it's still for the most part dark black. So we will be able to layer it ideally on top of this darker plum color, and then it will have an additional, color. So let me grabbing one of these and putting this in my cup. Make sure the airbrush is on. Oh yeah, gotta test this first to make sure that all is good. What I always do is I don't want to dump paint in there immediately. Sugar feels a little bit loose. Should be okay. Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna test on the spoon as we did before, and then from there on move on to the kit. I recall we were having kind of some issues with the clear paints before and they did some weird blushing stuff, but I'm hoping that's because of the temperature. So I'm gonna try to keep this up a little bit warm and we'll go from there and see. That's why I'm gonna test on the spoon first. So just sorry. I seem to always block this camera. Next time we do a kit together, I will have to figure this out better. Okay. So I'm gonna go down to about 10 or 15, 20 psi, I think is all that's needed. Let me test this out real quick before turning on my booth. So I'm gonna be honest, guys, it's really difficult for me to see these shadings. Mostly because like the color of the plum anyway is like so dark that I'm pretty sure I'm adding it, but I might need to just move the camera, or not move the camera, move my pieces and get it like really close to my face so I can see what's going on. Because right now, like I've added a couple of coats of this and it seems to be not doing very much. So, and also it seems like I might need to go in with the base coat just a little bit more. There's a couple of spots that slightly scratched off a tiny bit once we were assembling it. So yeah, from here on out, I'm going to be doing kind of a combo of the clear shading and then the base coat again, so this bottled stuff. And if I can't really notice any difference, I might just go in with this and add some more black to the mixture. So make another mini pot and then use that to shade with. I try to avoid that because I don't like to shade with opaques, but we'll see how it goes. So just letting you guys know. Alright, so I am spraying these clear and I'm not really seeing the type of definition, I guess, that I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and try the opaque method. Meaning I'm just going to dilute some of the base color solution that I have in this vial, and I'm going to cut it with black and darken that color and then spray that on and see how I like that. I'm going to test this out on a spoon first because I feel like I vaguely remember us doing this to a spoon when we were testing colors out and I wasn't happy with it. But let's see. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and, I could probably just use what's in this cup too. So let's add base color. Do about 1 dropper worth right now. You might hear my compressor kind of opening up in the background. Whoops. And I need to open my window a bit more. Okay. And I need to grab black. So yeah, I'm just going to add in some Gaia Notes black. I wish I had some gloss black because that probably would give me a better result, but all I have is the EX flat black. So we had a discussion about this before a couple streams ago, or maybe even last stream, where I prefer using gloss black over flat colors because it seems to go on and mix a little bit easier. It's also a lot easier to do top coats with just a gloss first. Okay, so let me add half first. Yeah, dropper just died. And close this first. Yes, that was it. Yeah, we tried shopping for gloss. Did not go so well. Most places are kind of out of stuff these days. So yeah, I just added half a dropper of EX flat black, 1 dropper of our mixture, and this is pretty dark, so let me add a little bit more of our mixture. I just don't want to spray pure black on this. Yeah, so I'm looking at this kit now that it's drying, and you can kind of see the, well, definitely not even in this stream. It's very, very faint. You can kind of see the shading, but it's not really as dark as I want it, so. Okay, yes, I'll give this a try real quick. I'm not going to turn on my booth yet. And I'm just going to spray it through my little brush here. So we're going to put this on a spoon. And I'm going to make this really thin. Not the paint, but the line. Oh yeah, there we go. It's hard once you're like fading dark black, because you really have to look at it from the right angle. Otherwise, you're not going to see it. Let me put this under a different light, because I've got my ring light here, but I want to check it under my hobby light. A little more. Again, we're not going to do a ton of shading here anyway. I want to bring out some of those pieces a little more. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this mixture on the rest of the dress. Hi, Quiliana. Yes, we actually finished base coating these pieces. So right now I'm kind of going in and changing my shading style. I started out with some clear paints that I was going to do on this dress, but it's not really showing up very much, mostly because it's colored so dark already. So I made kind of a hybrid mixture of black and the clear and my base purple color. And so we're just about to turn on my airbrush booth and wrap this up. So, and then I'll look at it one more time. So yeah, booth is gonna go on now, so I'm pretty satisfied with that color. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Okay, let me turn this off. Take a look. Definitely a lot closer to what I wanted it to be like now. Not 100% sure how this is going to show up on the camera, but in person you can see a very clear definition between lighter like purple and darker black. So let's see. Not too visible here. You can kind of see the shading. It would be a lot easier to see this under a softer light, so if I had a diffuser or some sort of, you know, softer light. This light's pretty harsh. But the shading definitely worked. It looks a lot like the shading is black, right? And so the darker purple, you can kind of see it there. Need to put like a button or something above this. Maybe if I block some of the light, you guys will be able to tell a little better. Kind of. Sorry guys, I'm just kind of looking at it. Hi Mr. Frike. We're trying to manipulate the light so you guys can see these dark shadings on what's already a dark color. Kind of difficult to tell. There you go, you can kind of see. So ignoring the ring light glare at the bottom right here, you can see that the bottom is really a darker black color, and the top as well. And then the middle is kind of that plum color. Yeah, it's a little difficult to see under this light, just because the light I have, the ring light, is pretty strong right now and kind of harsh. And if I turn this light down, it's probably even harder to see. Yeah, the bottom is much blacker, so I'm glad that you can see that. Yeah, here's like kind of a good angle. You can see I put a little bit more emphasis, this will focus, a little bit more emphasis on the top here, and then the bottom has a lot more darker color. This will be easier to see in photos because, you know, real time it's kind of like, you know, changes color and glare is harsh, and maybe if I move it back here, no, that doesn't really help. In any case, yeah, let me take a look and see how this compares to the rest of the kit. And then I will decide whether I want to spray the pearls on top, which is still an ongoing thing. Not sure. Always so hard when everything's glossed too, because then it looks different. Okay, so what were we doing? Let's take this off. We'll put on. Yeah, that's very much the emphasis that I want. Kind of see it here, but not so much. It's gonna be tough. And then let's put on Maid dress, which just kind of snaps in here, but I don't want to push too hard because I haven't sealed this piece yet. We've got kind of a little bit of like scratching toward the bottom here, but it's also not scratching as in like the paint is scratched off, but just the kit is kind of rough. And that's just also because this kit was kind of a mess. So, you know, you want as smooth of a surface as possible, but sometimes you just can't get that. So I have no complaints with that. Oh yeah, I'm really liking the definition here between the darker purple and then the like straight up black that I put on. Again, like I guess this right here would be the easiest way to see it, is this kind of lighter purple on the arm is intentional, and then the darker colors. And here you can really see the darker black color toward the bottom. So let's see. This one's looking good. I think I'm fine with that. And put this back. And I'm just going to compare this against the hair. I just don't know. Do I want to do the pearl? The rest of the kit's going to be pearled, so probably... Oh yeah, I'm loving that. This is exactly the color that I want. If it's exactly the color I want, then I don't know if I should do the pearl. Maybe I'll just wait for a bit. I don't want to do anything I'm going to regret. So, for now, I'm liking how this color is looking. So I'm not going to do anything else to it right now. So after that then, put these back before I mess anything else up. And put this back. So yeah, we just finished basically until I decide if I want to do more pearls. Not sure yet. We finished painting all the blacks on this kit. So we are ready to move on to the final, I guess, 2 pieces, which are her Maid bow. So she has an alternative bow that, you know, fits into her head. If I could get this to focus now. Yeah, so there's her bow, all kind of ready to go. Pretty small piece. And then we have her tiny shoes. So these are her shoes. We will need to mask for these, and so I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to work on the bow first and get it the color that I'm looking to aim for. And if I like that color, if I like how it's shaded and how it looks against the hair, then I will go ahead and start masking these tiny shoes and we can get these sprayed real quick. But we do need to, like, you know, cut all the masking paper and do all that. So shouldn't take too long. I just need a couple little tiny triangles. I don't think I'm even going to use any of the glue or the masking liquid just because it's such a small area. And then we can get that all sprayed. So first, let's clear out my airbrush here. I want to make sure that we are not spraying black on that hairband. So I'm going to try spraying it in here. Alright, just had to kind of suck some of that stuff out that I sprayed, so. And I'm not going to switch my airbrush because the pre-shade, we need to do some pre-shading on that bow, and so this is what I'll be using, this airbrush to pre-shade. So after I finish this, we are just going to transition into the pre-shading. And what I will be doing is we're looking for a very nice bright red. So what we're going to do is pre-shade this kit with primary color violet. Let's see. Yeah, primary color violet. So I've been using this kind of throughout the whole, this entire kit. I really like this color and it just seems to be working for this kit. There's a nice contrast of orange and purples. So we'll pre-shade with this and then we're going to go in right after that and coat the whole thing with Gaia Note 003 bright red. It's going to come out more pinky than like dark orangey red because we are not spraying on top of a yellow base. We're just going to put this red directly on top of this white. So I like that look personally. If you go through my past builds that are kind of cycling through, my most recent kit, actually, I can just kind of bring her over. Let me grab her real quick. Hey, thanks Puma for the subscription. I appreciate it. Now, let me just grab my kit real quick. Okay, so I have this little tiny chibi kit that I nicknamed Colaton. I finished her last month, or was it the month before? But anyway, here she is. And this is the hair color or the bow color I'm kind of going to aim for here. So what I did here for Colaton is I basically just sprayed the primary color violet first toward the bottoms, and then I sprayed that Gaia Notes bright red on top. So this took a bit of finagling, but in the end I decided I like this color. I'm realizing now that the colors on my stream are again kind of off because it's showing up much more red than she is in real life. She's a little more pinkier in color here. So anyway, this is the color that basically that I'm wanting to spray this. So we're gonna try that and see how it goes. If I don't like how if it's too red, I might put some magenta on top, but we're gonna see. Let me put this girl back. Okay, but yeah, so I find that pre-shading with red as a little bit, or pre-shading with purple for red is giving me the results that I want the most. I did a bunch of experiments. Oh, there she is. Oh, now she cycled out. But I did a bunch of experiments, and I found that putting like black or putting blue as the pre-shade wasn't really giving me the results I want. So these days I just go ahead and I use purple as my pre-shading color. So what? I don't know what was in here. That's suspicious. Got like a rando cup here. I'm gonna throw that out. Okay, let's get some purple in here. Don't need to use too much, honestly. We're gonna be using very little here. So I'm not even gonna pull out a whole drop of purple. It just seems wasteful. Take that. Oh, nice satisfying pop. That was pretty nice. Okay. I'll use the dropper. So I put maybe half a dropper in here, not entirely sure. Yeah, that was a nice pop. Usually doesn't make that sound. Okay, and this seems like it's a good consistency, so I'm not too worried. That's good. Okay, I'm gonna test this out on a spoon first, as always, and then if it's good, I'm just gonna start spraying onto this hairband. So really all I'm gonna do is kind of spray in the cracks here. Well, it will show. Kind of in the cracks if I can, and along the bottom sides, and really just anywhere that the shadows would normally hit, you know, like behind here, to give it a little bit more emphasis. And then I'll probably do a little bit of sanding down on it with my melamine sponge to concentrate the shading in those areas. So like even if you use a tiny brush or tiny airbrush, sometimes you get some overspray. So I'm gonna go in with the sponge and try to sand it down directly into those cracks. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Let me move also these shoulders. I have them sitting on my bench. Okay. All right. So let's get some of this in here. And we'll adjust my airbrush down. And I'm gonna turn on the compressor now. This side. I'm gonna sand this down without the brush or bouton so I can talk to you guys. First, Mr. Freaky, I want to use this technique, but I don't know why I don't like the texture of sponges. I feel you. That's how I feel about having stuff on my fingers. Like texturally, sometimes it can get kind of weird and you don't want to deal with it. So I understand. And Puma, how many gloves you go through a day? Surprisingly, not that many. I, go through maybe one or two a day, but a lot of times I just kind of keep them and don't, let them get pretty nasty before I switch them out. If I notice that stuff is kind of like crumbling off of them, that's usually when I shade or I switch it out too. Also, these gloves are like not the right size for me. These are either an extra large or a large, and I usually wear a small medium. But we bought, like, there was basically a giant gloves shortage in the middle of Corona, as you guys all know, coronavirus. So just kind of just like get what you can and then spray that. And so usually I just keep a glove in my non-dominant hand, and then for my left one, I just kind of let my hand get nasty because I'm just holding it with my airbrush. And let's see. I'm shocked I landed those Ishtar kits. Oh yeah, you guys got some really nice kits, especially you, Canon. That was a very good haul. Crazy how much you guys were able to buy, and that sucks, fries. Personally, I did not do TFO, so what we're talking about is Treasure Fest Online. It was an online figurine festival that was held just this past weekend. So basically foreigners are able to use it and work on this site as long as you have a forwarder, which is like a service in Japan that will forward packages for you. They give you a Japanese address and then you can use that address to buy things. So TFO only requires the use of a Japanese address. They do allow foreign credit card, which is why people are able to buy kits internationally. So yeah, I saw a lot of good hauls this past weekend. I did not participate. A lot of TFO I'm finding is just fake Grand Order, which is fantastic if you're into the series, but I personally am not. So most of the kits that I am interested in show up on other sites anyway, so I'm able to buy them that way. But it is absolutely fantastic for people who are, wanting to buy licensed character kits and didn't have the option to before other than Wonder Festival. I'm just kind of sanding down some of this purple. I'm going to go in with the purple just a tiny bit more and kind of buff out these shadings that I just sanded down. And then we'll switch over to the red. You can see when you use the, you know that I'm not into Fako. Come on. Let's see. Nothing against it, I just don't play it. Hard to see, but there's kind of this textural pattern that you can see from where I buffed it off with the sponge. So when you do sand this down with the sponge, you're gonna get kind of the streakiness of the sponge, but I kind of like that. If I'm being honest here, I like it not being perfectly totally anime smooth and having a little bit of that texture. So lately I've been using this method of sanding down stuff a lot more. Something like there's perfection and imperfections, I guess. Okay, let me see. Also, I did notice, and I kind of hesitated before painting, there's this weird line, like there's this little line, I don't know if it's visible, and I think it might be from putty that maybe I filled in this area and it just ended up cracking, but I'm really not going to crack this. I don't care at this point. And this is just a for fun kit. So this Maid bow, which is alternate anyway, is going to have a tiny little line, either from putty or a scratch or something. But what? Okay, so I think I've buffed out pretty much all the areas that I really want that red to shine. Maybe right here too. It gets a little difficult once you're working with tiny kits, because unless you have tiny supplies, you can't get into cracks and stuff. and I don't really have the time or interest to invest to cut out a really tiny square, glue it to like a Q-tip here, and then do that, which you can definitely do too. So there are many ways to get in tiny cracks and spaces, but for the purpose of time and figuring things out, we're just gonna push forward. So yeah, I'm gonna go through with my purple just a tiny bit more and kind of redefine some of these areas. You can see the shadings are already pretty nice. If this camera will focus on it. From a distance, and like realistically what anyone's gonna see, this looks pretty nice already. You can see that we've done a lot of shadings and brought out the features of this bow. But I'm gonna go back in and kind of highlight this area again because you can see the shadings kind of off and weird there. And then we will go in with the red. So let me pour a little more. Need a tiny bit more thinner as well. Hope you all are having a nice night so far and that things are going well. Hopefully my music is listenable as well. Okay. I'm actually gonna turn my booth on. I'm just gonna leave the compressor on, so. My voice will kind of cut out, but you guys can hear me. Hopefully this will only take a few minutes, so. You can also kind of see that this bow is just kind of turning around. That's because I did not secure it and it goes all the way through here. So really you just kind of got to hold it in place as you're working with it. Kind of went over the middle of the bow. There you go. But I kind of like this textured look. That way the bow isn't like perfectly anime smooth. And I might end up putting glitters on this bow too. I just don't. Get these tips really dark too, so. Again, after we finish this purple and put on the red, we're really not going to do any more shading on top of that. So I really want to make sure that everything is shaded well beforehand. That's more or less it, whatever. It's an alternate bow anyway, so I'm not too pressed. Turn that off and take one more look. Let's see it zoom in. So this will be the pre-shade. And we're just gonna put red directly on top of this. So the red will act, the purple will act as the shading. Okay, take this off and clean out this. And then also we are going to clean out my brush here really well because we're gonna switch back to my Iwata for the all over coat. So I really do try to reserve this badger brush for shadings and stuff only. Mostly because I'm also figuring out how to use it properly still, and so I can get really thin lines with it, but this brush is also capable of really wide spray patterns, despite its needle size, which is smaller than my Iwata. but I'm still learning that, and I find that pulling the trigger back, it does a lot of damage in a really short time. Like, this actually sprays a lot of paint, and so really I'm just going to try to reserve it for smaller, thin lines until I figure out how to. Let me turn this off, and you guys can kind of see the lines that I'm talking about on my paper towel. But yeah, these are the thin lines that I was spraying when I was trying to figure out the shading for the Maid dress. So yeah, the badger can get really thin if you choose to do so. My Iwata does not do this, definitely not as thin, so that's why I bought it. Best $90 I ever spent. I got a really good deal on it because Badger was having an anniversary sale. It took me like 8 months to get it, but and let me get another paper towel too. Okay, we're just gonna cut the square, and what else? Oh yeah, what I did decide I wanted to do, I think, was take a really, really tiny bit of the sponge, kind of like I just said I wouldn't bother, but now I'm gonna bother, and I'm gonna try to sand right in the middle. Yep, there. On the top. This purple's coming off pretty quickly, so questionable. There's also weird. So I'm just sanding off a bit of this purple real quick. Should be good. Debating if you should buy another H&S. Depends. If you're satisfied with the brand, then yes. But it depends also what you intend to use your airbrush for, I suppose. I really don't like to buy airbrushes until I have a clear use for them, because it is kind of more of an investment than you know, just buying a paint that you want to try out or whatever. I'm going to put some plain red in this. But yeah, I'm not really that familiar with that airbrush brand, Canon, so I do know people that use them and they really like the brush. So take out my red. So yeah, I'm just gonna put Gaia Notes 003 bright red. That's just gonna go right into this cup right here. I did add 3 droppers, so technically I can add up to a dropper of this red. It's really not that needed. Let me start with half first. I'll use a little bit more. Okay. So bright red out of this cup. You can really see the difference between opaque and transparent paints, because this one's pretty crazy. And I think we're pretty much ready to just spray directly onto this bow. Let's pour this in here. And let me test it real quick on a spoon. Use the back of this one. Yep, that's a pretty nice red. Yep, consistency is good, color is looking good, and I'm not noticing any splattering, so I'm gonna turn on my booth, and we're just gonna spray this hairband now. Let me pour a little bit more in this cup. So just gonna take a quick look at this. Let's spray this out real quick. Alright. So, take a look. So you can see that the purple shadings basically just turn to a dark red, a little bit more visible back here. But it's not offensive at all. It's still pretty dark compared to, you know, the red itself. But it's a little bit surprising, right? You would think that it would be like a different color, but it really ends up being more of like a darker brown, reddish color rather than like straight up purple. So almost looking more like cartoony, I guess, from the back here. And if I look up close, there is like an area or two that I wish that I had sanded down a little bit better because she's looking a tiny bit rough, but I'm not too concerned. So let me see what this looks like against the whites of this kit. Because I'm not 100% sure if I want to add some magenta on top or just keep it as is. What is this camera focusing on that is making it so it's not showing? Looks so blurry. The most important part is seeing how it looks against the orange. Ooh. There's still some essence of the purple in here I can see. Like I didn't spray kind of the underside of this bow. That could be good or bad depending on what look you're going for. Let me grab her face real quick in the front hair piece, and that'll give this a chance to sit for just a minute, and then I'm gonna test the colors together. So far I'm like ambivalent about it. Like it looks fine, but not 100% sure I'm in totally love with that color. Pearls might help that though. So we'll see. Let's see. So we've got the hair. Again, I really like this hair color once I changed it. And we'll put the face in, hair in, and let's take a look. Put this back here. A little bit. I'm gonna pull out this pin. You can always put it back in. Don't want to damage. Oh, that was easier than I thought. This should just fit right in. Cute? Not sure how I feel. Maybe let's test. Yeah. Not sure what feels off about it. Yeah, that's how I feel too, Mr. Freaky. Once you add, and that's the thing about like once you add colors in and put them next to each other, what looks great individually sometimes does not look like super amazing once you mix it with other colors. And so, like, I really like this bow color, but because this hair is kind of softer orange already, the red looks kind of harsh against it. And I wasn't 100% sure about this choice of red anyway. So I'm wondering if pearls might help that out. And also the pearls with this. If I decide to add pearls on top of her darker dress colors, then that will also affect how that looks. So I think because of this color, I'm going to hold off, just not paint her shoes this kind of red immediately, mostly because I'm not 100% happy with it yet and I want to diagnose why. But what we can do is I can test the darker color with the pearl that I was going to put on. And luckily, like we're not necessarily needing to do a lot of detail work on these shoes yet, and so even if we have to do the shoes on Wednesday, because it's going to take a little bit of masking and stuff, we won't really be like needing to stop early or missing much, because we can definitely go in and paint other stuff on Wednesday too. I'll have to sit on this for a little bit, I think. There's nothing necessarily wrong with the bow or how it looks or the color, but the harshness of it against the softness of this kit, not 100% sure. So I might need to go in and rethink the red bow. And because of that, rethink the red shoes. Might just decide to paint the shoes the same color as her outfit, to be honest. So in that case, let me put these pieces back, and what we can do to kind of wrap this up is I'm going to test the pearls on top of that Maid outfit. And if I like it, then we will just do all of it. Let me put these away real quick. And I feel like you guys haven't really seen a lot of me spraying pearls. Besides that one time where my airbrush completely messed up and it decided it didn't want to spray pearls, but we did it anyway. Let me clear this up then. Take this red out, spray it out real quick. Whoops, well, that's why we have paper towels here. This happens a lot though. Like sometimes you get mixtures that, you know, you spray your spoons on and you're totally fine with them, and then you put it on your kit and you're just like, I don't know about that. So that's why we always advocate for mixing lots of spoons and trying things out and trying to nail down what mixture you want. Because if you spray it on your kit like that and you decide you don't like it later on, well, you're just gonna have to repaint it. So if I don't figure out a solution to that one, I'm just gonna have to strip the paint and then re-prime it and do everything. But luckily that piece is not too large, and there weren't that many problems with it in terms of like the holes and stuff, so it should be an easy thing to fix. Okay, I'm gonna throw away some of these used rockers because they're just getting in the way at this point. And okay, so we're gonna try out some of that ruby red pearl on top of the darker plum that we mixed tonight. I'm gonna clean this out first, and then we're gonna switch over to my other airbrush, my master airbrush, which is the big one, the big needle one. Just like, why is this so blurry? That's the question. What are you focusing on? Oh, maybe it's the cups back here. Move these. Oops. Oh yeah, maybe that was it. I can't see it because of the reference, but we're gonna switch out to my other airbrush. Alright, so I just attached my master airbrush, which is the big 0.5 needle one. This is what I used to spray all my pearls. We did have some experience with this before when the back end wasn't working for whatever reason, and I think I resolved that. Gotta double check here. Yeah, so I fixed that issue, and now it sprays fine with the end on here. So let's get some ruby red out, some Mr. Crystal Color pearls. Move that, and with these, kind of cleaning up stupid stuff. this mixture, or at least this ruby red, I feel like you need to shake pretty well, or just kind of mix with a toothpick. Let's see, what was wrong with it? Are you referring to the ribbon that we were just talking about, Fries, or something else, like camera or paint? Oh, yeah. This one also gets kind of crusty for whatever reason, so see the crust on the edge. Oh, the airbrush. Oh yeah, everything has issues. No. So what was happening here is we were attaching the back part of this, and I don't know exactly the term of what we call this part of the airbrush, but for whatever reason, when it was tightened pretty far, the needle was like not allowing paint to come out. And so essentially what I did is I just loosened this a little bit when I was reattaching it, and after that it worked fine. So I don't know beyond that. Sometimes this stuff is so temperamental, and honestly, as long as it sprays, this particular one, as long as it sprays, I'm just like whatever, because I don't have too much time to care about it. Now if my water was messing up, I'd be like, oh my god, my baby. What am I gonna do? Okay. Okay. I just go gung-ho in this, not 100% sure. I already know what it's gonna look like. But it's just a matter of am I gonna like it on the kit, and that's the scary part, because if you don't like the pearls, then you gotta recoat all the matte paint, or all the flat, and then go from there. But, okay, I'll try it on a spoon, and then maybe I'll spray it kind of on the inside of this and see if I like it. We're experimenting, so you know what, YOLO.
Falling in love is a thing that strikes like lightning. You just cannot forget this person.
See how nice and red it got? Alright, I'm gonna YOLO it, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna YOLO it. We're turning this on.
I give myself. You feel miserable when not in their presence. You just cannot forget this person. And say it's crazy. Falling. You see?
Alright, that's pretty much it. I generally use like a pretty high PSI, especially for this master airbrush, to go over my pearls. So I actually had that on at 35 PSI. I don't know if you guys can tell the cloud spewing out. You can go a little bit lower, but I also just wanted a really quick brush over this. So, let's see. So yeah, here's what the spoon looked like. So we'll zoom in. So you can see this got kind of a purpley red shine on it. I find that the ruby red from Mr. Crystal Color is a little bit less, I don't want to say intrusive, but it's less bold then they're, you know, topaz gold or they're green. It's for whatever reason the pigments and the particles feel smaller, and so they also don't shine like as crazy red as the gold. So this is really kind of a very subtle effect. But let me see how it looks on here. So yeah, you can kind of see. It's again, it's gonna be hard because it's a pretty dark color anyway. This will really shine next to, excuse me, the whites. And it basically changed this plum to almost look more silvery. Let's see. I definitely need to look at this closer under or next to other pieces. Ooh, not bad. Just shining now. What's good though is that this will coordinate with the red that's already on it. Oh yeah, you can really see it at this angle. You can see how it's just kind of this gray, red, shiny texture now. Almost metallic, but it's not. That's the power of pearl. But see, under this type of light, you can't really see it that well. It's only once it's shining, you can see this kind of light red tint. Let me grab the orange again. Make sure this is dry. Okay. I also went ahead and I sprayed that red hairband with the pearls too, because you know why not. Oh yeah, so there's really not too much of a change here. If anything, it just slightly changed the top coat color to be a little more red tinted, which is fine because that's what we're kind of going for anyway, is these warmer red colors. I'd say as a whole, this didn't really change the effect that much, which is fine, and I like it. So, no complaints. And I don't have her apron, so I can't see what it looks like. Actually, I can just grab it. We're showing it off anyway. It is going to be a little annoying though, since we put pearls on top, once I enamel paint this, I'm going to have to go in with a very thinly misted coat of pearls to make sure it gets that same effect. Oh yeah, this is fine and cute. Only so much you can do with such a simple kit. So yeah, the back will basically, it'll be looking like this. So pretty much in the color realm of what we were expecting and wanting to do anyway. So that's good. Just trying to decide if I want to go in with a tiny bit more, excuse me, of the black shading, but I don't think that's necessary. Also, this feels really smooth. I don't know if you guys can hear the squeakiness. Like a little bit of a squeaky once you run your finger over it. Funny. Okay, so I guess as a summary, since we're kind of winding down here and we wrapped up her clothing, at least this part. Oh yeah, I want to do this too. So I'll talk as I'm working on this. We finished up all of her black portions of her clothes, at least the portions that needed to be airbrushed. Let's see, is the pearl considered a top coat, or do you apply top coat after that? Pearl is not considered a top coat, so although it does look glossy, you know, and it looks like it's been kind of sealed the same as the rest of this, it is not. And so what we'll need to do after, or what I'll do tomorrow, is I will go over these pieces with my gloss top coat. So I have Mr. Color GX100 that I have here. I usually mix this with a bit of just regular clear, so I actually have these on my desk right now. So I mix kind of one portion of this and one portion of the regular Guy Notes Clear together and use that as a gloss top coat. So I pre-mix that and I put it in vials, and so that way I have it just ready to go. So all of these blackish, purple, red, whatever you want to call it now, it's a bunch of things. These pieces will be glossed tomorrow afternoon or whenever I have time, and then on Wednesday, well, let's see, we really don't have that much left because we finished these. We finished the apron basics. we finished this, and so all we have left is her shoes to airbrush, and the rest is detailed stuff. So I think what will happen is we will finish up her shoes. I'm kind of leaning towards painting them purple now rather than red. This just kind of, I would have painted them earlier if I'd known that, but wasn't 100% sure. So we'll see. I'll have to think about it tomorrow. And then I'm not sure if I want to redo the hairband. The glossiness ended up real nice, but yes, we are getting to eyes. Eyes are usually the last thing I paint, and so most of my detail work and everything is done before I start eyes, because I find that those take the most focus for me, and also they're like the most anticipated that I want to work on. So if I finish eyes first, I'm just like, well, I'm done. By the time I reach eyes, I'm like, I'm so tired of this. I'm pretty much done. And so I found that painting eye last for me is basically the sign I'm like almost done with the kit. So it's like that final motivation to push through. I know, Ken. I know half of y'all just want to see me paint eyes. Well, lucky you, because this kit has 2 face plates, so we're gonna have to figure out what we want to do, in terms of the style to paint her eyes. I'm still like not 100% sure how I want to paint those flat eyes, so I'm gonna have to go in and do a little bit of research and thinking about it. The ones that are kind of indented should be more straightforward, but I'm also not sure what color I want to paint them. So if you guys have any suggestions of what you think the color might, be good on this, let me know. I know in the reference here, her eyes are basically kind of like brown, gold, and so I could do that, but I'm not sure yet. I'll have to do a couple Photoshops and see and figure it out, because sometimes I have an idea of how I want to paint the eyes and what color I want to do them and what style. Other times it's just kind of like, just do whatever. So we'll see. Right now I'm in the kind of phase of things, and we've just kind of been doing whatever until this point. I didn't even know I was going to put pearls on all of this kit until we started painting it. So that's what's fun about these original kits, is you just kind of do whatever you feel like. And there's no pressure really to paint it, exactly the same color as regular reference. So even though the reference that I'm using is from an actual character, I'm not painting her, so we have a lot of room for leeway and stuff. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up then. Next time I kind of got distracted. Let me know, Cannon. Next time we are going to wrap up her shoes, whether I decide to still paint them red or paint them kind of that purple with the red pearl, as well as her bow, maybe. I might just wipe that and end up using a white bow, because I saw some cute reference for that, but we'll see. And then we're gonna switch the setup after that back into the kind of top-down view of my desk. So like what you're seeing right now is kind of the left side of my desk and my airbrush booth and everything. And then we're gonna go back to the right side again, where we started out and did all our sanding and stuff, because we are going to start details, and so all of that will be done with enamel paint. And that's all I gotta say about that. It's gonna be done with enamel paint. We won't have too many details to paint, so we can probably move on to eyes relatively quickly. So we're getting toward the end of this. Once you start, or once you finish all of your base coats and all your shading with your airbrush, all that's really left is the detail work in your eyes usually. So fun times. We got a little bit of work left on this, but it's finally reaching a point where we're going to start seeing this Maid come together. Yeah, the details should be lots of fun. So next stream will be on Wednesday the 19th. So Wednesday, May 19th at 8 p.m. EST. Hope to catch you guys all there. I just remembered that we can raid people, so hang tight if you are interested, and I will find someone that is doing something right now in makers and crafting, because that's the section I'm in right now. There's a lot going on tonight. Let me click this one and see if there's something else. Oh, what is this? Oh, this looks fun. Okay, so I'm going to switch you guys over to this user named Unfocused Nia. Unfocused Enia. I thought it said ninja at first, so I was like, what? But they are building a mini dollhouse kit, which is something that I'm actually really interested in, and I have one sitting like up on my closet that I've always wanted to build. And so these are pre-made kits that you can buy from a store, and they basically come with everything in them. And so it's a lot of fun to just assemble it, and all the instructions are included. So I'm curious about this, and I'm going to read them. So hope you guys all have a good rest of your night. This was fun, and see you soon. Click, 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 guys. All right, see you guys later. Have a good night.